I need to tell you about my first traffic stop ever as a kid. Beater? I thought it was a beater. This is a 1984 Oldsmobile Delta 88 Royal Brougham, okay? Classic. My great uncle bought this car from General Motors when he retired from General Motors in '84. It was a top of the line vehicle at that time. He took care of it like a top of the line vehicle. And when he passed away, my mother gave it to me as a senior in high school. There's a certain freedom that comes with having your own vehicle. I drive it my senior year, and of course I have to make modifications to it, right? So what do? I go, I tint the windows, I put two 15-inch speakers in the trunk. Because at the time, that's what we used to do in Youngstown, where I'm from. So I drive it my whole senior year, and then I go to college. I come back from college to the car, but I also come back a father. See, I had my first daughter, Mackenzie, when I was a freshman in college. So I'm home from college, and my mother, she's working at the mall at this point, and she calls me, and she says, RC, I need you to come pick me up from work. Now, normally, if she was working in Youngstown, that wouldn't be a problem, but the mall is in Boardman, and Boardman was notorious as a police department for being very aggressive and for pulling over people that look like me. So I'm on the phone with my mother, and I say, Mommy, I can't come get you. Now, a little backstory, my mother was really strict when I was young. In fact, I like to say when I went to the police academy, it wasn't as hard as it was living with my mother. I say, Mommy, I can't come get you. And being the person that she was, she says, RC, you better be here by 4 o'clock. And she had a little flip phone so you could hear her bang on me when she snapped it closed. So now I'm sitting at home, me and Mackenzie, and I have a decision to make. Do I go pick my mother up from Boardman, or do I'm gonna end up losing my life if I'm not there by 4 o'clock? So I decide, okay, I'm going to get my mother. I'm going to do this. Now, the thing about the mall is it's located in Boardman, and there's 2 ways to get there. The main way is straight down the street called Market Street. It connects from the edge of Youngstown to the beginning of Boardman. The mall's maybe 2 miles from there. But you guys ever seen those National Geographic videos where the zebras are crossing the rivers and the crocodiles are up on the banks? And once enough zebras get inside of the water, the crocodiles come down and get them a little taste. That's how the Boardman police treated Market Street. They would post up on either side, north and southbound. And when they saw something that they thought was tasty, they would jump out, pull it over. So I said, I definitely can't go Market Street. What I didn't tell you about this vehicle before we move on is that, yes, my mother gave it to me. Yes, I had enough money to put gas in it, but I did not have enough money between her and I to have it properly registered or insured. But in Youngstown, that wasn't a problem. So I can't take Market Street. We know that. What I've learned from being a police officer is people who drive without the proper documentation always have a back way. Okay, so there was definitely a back way to the mall. It was South Avenue. So I take Mackenzie. She's like 3 months old, so she's like this big. I put her in the car seat, put her in the car, and I start to drive through Youngstown until I get to South Avenue. Just as I cross South Avenue, I come to the traffic light. A couple cars in front of me. The light's red. I'm counting down. 30, 29, 28. I think it's a 30-second light. It's probably longer, but I'm so nervous. Doesn't matter. 29, 28, 27. I look in my side mirror, next to me. But what do you think was the car behind that one?
Bob car.
Boardman police officer. Okay. I didn't know it then, but I know it now as a police officer. When I looked in that side mirror, he was over the dash with his radio running my registration. So the light turns green, the cars go. As a young 19-year-old kid, I'm scared. I try to get away. And so I make a quick right at the light. He turns his lights on, comes right behind me, pulls me over. He walks up to the car, identifies himself, tells me who he works for. He asks me for my documentation. I give him my driver's license. I give him a registration from like 2 years before. I give him insurance from like a year before. He asked me if I have anything current. I say no. I start to ask him a question and he just walks away. He comes back up. He says, RC, I need you to step out of the car. And I say, okay. I step out. I say, you want to search it? He says, I need you to take the baby out of the car too. So I go around to the other side. I get Mackenzie standing on the corner. It's August, it's hot. It's, sweltering. He searches the car. I know he's looking for drugs and guns because a lot of young black men from Youngstown would have those things on them. I don't. I'm a college athlete who just so happens to be a father. And then the tow truck comes. I proceed to watch them tow my vehicle. He hands me 3 citations and he pulls off. And I'm left there standing on the corner, probably 15 minutes from my mother's job, 25 minutes from my house, with no ride. I didn't like law enforcement at that point in time in my life, even though I was studying criminal justice. But this was also a lesson in something called priorities. Had I not tinted my windows and spent that money, had I not put 2 15-inch speakers in the trunk with the amp and all the wiring and spent that money on that, then I would have had enough money to get the car registered and to get insurance on it. I learned from that interaction that I can go anywhere I want to go, no matter if they like black people, if they don't like black people. It doesn't matter if I have a driver's license, registration, and insurance.